Drying and curing. Let's get into that a little bit. What do you do for drying? Like, what are your conditions? How is your drying area set up? So on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, I bought a product this year thinking, oh yeah, the bud dryer, online. It's got a carbon filter. I mean, yeah, it doesn't stop the smell. Yeah, at least let into secret. Even though it's got a carbon filter, it's still absolutely honks. So I think having I think you can be a guerrilla grower and you can live in a flat and you don't have the space to grow, and guerrilla growing seems like the best solution. I think my warning to you is, yes, it's amazing. You can grow a kilo of weed in the wild. No one will find you. But, bring that back to your flat in some city somewhere. Have a plan for drying that. And when medicinal plants are drying, it's very smelly. The smell is quite prominent. So be prepared for that. Have a plan for those 2 weeks where it goes from, woohoo, I've got loads of it, to, oh my goodness, what the hell am I going to do with the smell? I hope no one notices. Because it comes back to that vulnerability. Because all this stuff's illegal, you're vulnerable. And that can be from your partner, that can be from your neighbour, that can be from any number of sources that makes you vulnerable. Whether they want to manipulate you, call the police, get one over on you, any of that stuff. Don't underestimate how vulnerable you are. You may be the big dude, the whatever. It smells strongly. People recognize that smell. There may be problems and things escalate really quickly. You don't think they will, but, it can be a landowner deciding to detain you and calling the cops. It can be your landlord, coming for a flat and inspection and just clocking what's going on, all these things, it can unravel really quickly, which is why I say, if you're thinking about doing this, and it's really easy to get down the rabbit hole, and it's amazing, and it's so much fun, and it's so many good positive things, it's amazing for your mental health, it's all those good things, and I can't recommend it highly enough, but have an understanding of consequence and just have an exit plan. If it goes wrong and your neighbour complains about the smell, have a friend that says, yeah, I've got a garage, you can put it in. Have an exit strategy, because there's nothing more stressful than spending 9 months producing the most amazing thing and then just like you're trapped between a partner saying, make it disappear, and your neighbour going, I can smell medicinal plants, and, what are your options? Just have an exit plan. Have a plan B. I can't overemphasize that enough, because there's nothing worse than having to make that disappear in a way that you don't get to benefit from it. And, doing this stuff, it takes a long time. It takes a lot of effort. It really, really does. And it's a commitment. So if you're sort of in with the thing, and it's an amazing thing to do, but just at the back of your mind, have those things mapped out. Don't just go into it all sort of sketchy. Go, oh, it'll be fine. No, it won't be. You need to work it out, because when they're saying there's a problem, you've got to have a plan.
Yeah, I know. One way to conserve the terpenes, obviously the smell coming off the plant is the terpenes volatilizing, right? It's evaporating into the air, and that's what you're smelling. To conserve those terpenes, lowering the temp in your dry room. So I don't think you mentioned what temperature you usually aim for in your dry room, or humidity.
I mean, I my control over that is sort of limited, just because where it is. But it's probably between 16 to 18 degrees is normally what it is. It probably takes me sort of 10 days to 2 weeks for it to dry, to a point where you can get it. And this is the first year I've really gone for the growth bags, and I have to say, I mean, wow, amazing. I mean, just like it's been transformative. I was in the mason jars and the burping and the thing. Oh my goodness, what a hassle. When you get to sort of an outdoor grow where you've got a sort of considerable quantity, where it's not like a sort of a few ounces. You're like, you're into sort of 40 ounces. You're a kilo. It quite quickly gets to the point where you're like, you need to manage that, and that's a lot to manage, and it can go wrong very quickly. Mold goes really quickly. I mean, I would say with outdoor growing, mold is your big enemy, but just accept it. It will happen. It you've just got to plant twice what you think you want, and assume that you'll lose half the mold and you'll be fine. But it comes, and nothing goes in a jar without being looked at through a very, very through a loop. I'm there like literally every bud, and it's easy to spot the mold. So but just accept it's gonna happen, and this has been amazing. But towards the end of the harvest, when you go for that second crop, and it's sort of late October, you may lose half of it to mold, but just be on it, and don't ignore it. It's happening. It's going to come. There's no getting away from it, and just manage it as best you can.
This clip is brought to you by AC Infinity. Use discount code MrGrow at 15 to save on any of their products.